listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast by Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb, Dr. Frederick J. Long, Dr. Mario Melendez, Dr. Jennifer Noonan, and J. M. Smith. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Proof Text. I am Michael Halcomb, and this is a Hebrew Growcabulary episode. So we're trying to grow our Hebrew vocabulary. In view today is the Hebrew root in the Hebrew term akal, aleph, kaf, lamed. Now, many of us know this term as to eat, and that's correct, but we're going to look at a few verses. We'll also discover, if we look at this even just across the Old Testament, that this word actually has some layers of meaning that go beyond the simple idea of consuming food. And so what I want to start doing in these episodes is just dig a little bit deeper than maybe just looking at the word on Step Bible and then, how many times it occurs and the definition and being done. So I want to think a little bit more about some of this. And we're still going to look at Step Bible, but we're going to do so in a little bit of a different way. So what I'm going to do is pull up Step Bible on the screen here if you're watching, and we'll go from there. So if you're just listening, that's perfectly fine too. All right, we're at Step Bible. I have the search bar pulled up, and I have my keyboard set to Hebrew. So let's type in akal. There we go. And you'll see that when the words come up, we have to eat, to devour food. The ukal is worn out, and then we have okla, which is food. So this almost always has to do with food, right? Eating. So let's take a look at some of these. And if we look in various places, we don't just have to stick to Genesis, although we could. We know that you really can't mention a call without mentioning Genesis, right? The Garden of Eden, God commands Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree, to eat from the tree of knowledge. And it's a pivotal moment in the biblical narrative, in the biblical history. And so in that scene there in Genesis, Genesis 2:16 is the first place we find a call. We actually find it back to back. We have a call to call, a call to kel, that sort of thing. And we see it in Genesis 2:17 and 3:1. And so this akal becomes a really significant thing in the story of Adam and Eve, and it sets the stage for the rest of the story, because there eating becomes a symbol, akal becomes a symbol of disobedience, and it has some really lasting repercussions. Similarly, when Esau, later in Genesis, eats a bowl of stew, akal, right? He eats a bowl of stew. He then trades his birthright to Jacob for that. And so there, akal is symbolizing, or signifying, maybe is a better word, this kind of preference for immediate physical, bodily satisfaction over familial values, cultural values, and even spiritual values, we might argue. If we look later, we can look at some different verbs here. Or some different verses here. Let's look, for example, at Proverbs, and in particular, Proverbs 4. Let's look at 17, because I believe it occurs there. Proverbs 4:17. And let's go here. I got it up on the screen. 15, 16, 17. So there we go. And what we're going to find in this section of Proverbs, right, is a focus with regard to eating on, it says right here, wicked people, right, eat. What do they eat? Lechem roea, or roe, however you say that. Lechem roea. They eat the bread. Lechem roea. This is resha'a. Sorry, said that wrong. Not roea. royas, to watch, right, or to look. This is lechem resha'a, and this is to eat the bread of wickedness, right? Is what we have going on here with regard to eating. Yeah, so that's pretty fascinating to have food. I don't see a call listed here, but the idea of just food itself being designated as or ascribed the sort of um, description of wickedness, right? So a bread of wickedness, and uh, that's signifying, right, when people digest the bread of wickedness, it's implying too that they're evil and they're partaking in this sort of evil engagement and these evil wicked deeds. You also have a call shows up across the Hebrew scriptures in, obviously, in the festal or festival passages or ritual passages. um, During Passover, you have the commandment to call unleavened bread, which we call matzah now. And it's not really just about sustenance, right? It's a powerful act of remembering. Um, and it's looking back at the time of the Israelites as they're leaving Egypt. And it becomes a real symbol of their identity, this eating. They'll later eat manna as well. And so there are numerous metaphorical uses of a call. The Psalms, they sort of they have these metaphorical uses. The Psalms will speak of enemies eating up a call, the righteous, and obviously denoting oppression and destruction and violence and those sorts of things. In Hosea, Israel is described as um, having a call, eaten the fruit of lies. That sort of may have a reference back to Genesis as well, maybe sort of pointing back there perhaps. And if you even on into like modern Hebrew culture, if you like fast forward today, a call still carries the meaning of to eat, but so much is built around this idea of a call of eating. And if you go to Israel, you know this, like it's sort of a gateway into this food, right? Eating into a rich history of and diversity of culture. And so that's a call. And yeah, so I don't know if this sort of format is better for doing the Hebrew vocabulary videos, but I think it is kind of giving more of a broader view of things. But we'll try this for a little bit more times. If you think this is better, let me know. If you think it's worse, let me know, and we'll go back to the old ways. So for now, I'm going to stop there and say I hope that helps.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.